this is Kelly Patrick, and I am doing the breakdown of the digestive system. So, it's actually a painting I'll be doing just to show you how it works and all the different organs. And here we go. Okay, to start with, I'm going to use red because I'm going to work with the mouth. The beginning of the digestive system is actually taking place in the mouth over here. And food is mechanically broken down by the teeth, as you can see I've painted. It increases the surface area. So, let me grab my red. Alright. Okay, another thing about the mouth is the saliva. It contains the enzyme amylase, which breaks down starch into glucose. Food is brought down to the stomach through the esophagus by peristalsis. So here we have the tongue that goes right in there, comes around down here. This is heading in the direction of the esophagus. That is this area is actually the oral cavity. And let's see, I will use a different color for the esophagus. So there we go, there's the beginning, right down there. Whoop, and goes all the way down, like so. Okay. And a little bit more about the tongue is that it's actually a skeletal muscle, and it's on the floor of the mouth, so right in this area right here. And it manipulates food for chewing, which is also known as mastication, and swallowing, which is known as deglutition. Deglutition. It's sensitive and it's kept moist by saliva. Okay. So if you've noticed this area over here, we have these three little bulges. I'm going to paint them a yellowish, orangish color. These three bulges are the salivary glands. The top one over here is the parotid. The one over more towards the lips is the sublingual. And the one over here by the mandible is the submandibular. Mandibular. Okay, a little tricky to pronounce that one. Mandibular. Okay. And then also, I should mention another important part of the digestive system is this area right in here, up more towards the mouth, above the esophagus, is the pharynx. And the pharynx is the part of the neck and throat situated immediately behind the mouth and nasal cavity. And it's superior to the esophagus. So it's up here, esophagus is down here. Because food and air actually does pass through the pharynx. So we really just want the food to get down the esophagus. But in order to not have the food go down the wrong pipe, which would be the windpipe or the trachea, which I can kind of make that in over here. So this is our trachea on this side. We don't want the food to go down there. That's the windpipe. That's for the air. So we have this actual flap that goes in about here, and that's called the epiglottis. It closes over the trachea when food is swallowed to prevent choking or asphyxiation. Asphyxiation. Okay, so now once we go back to the esophagus, so this is where food is traveling on down, just like so. And it's transported through peristalsis. And just so you guys know, the esophagus is actually a narrow muscular tube. It's about 20 to 30 centimeters long. And it passes on through the thoracic diaphragm. So I'm going to draw the diaphragm now. And make the diaphragm a nice pretty blue color, just so that you know that it's separating this area. So it's below the rib cage. So here's, our chest area. Got the diaphragm. It's going like this. Okay, that's our diaphragm. It's separating the thoracic cavity, which is like the heart, lungs, and ribs, from the abdominal cavity, which is this area. And it really performs more of a function in respiration. So not so much digestion in this one. But it's important that you know what that big chunky blue line is across there. Okay, and then this right in here, this is our liver. So I'm going to paint the liver. I think a nice purple color will do. So here's my liver. Get a little more purple. And notice that I didn't paint this middle section. I left that open like that. And you know what, I'll leave it white. I kind of like it white. I'll add a little bit more white. So that is actually the falciform ligament. It separates the left and right lobes of the liver. It suspends it from the diaphragm. Okay, so just so you know, the liver, right in here, is responsible for detoxification, protein synthesis, and production of biochemicals necessary for the digestive process. It also produces the bile, which is an alkaline compound, and the bile helps in digestion by emulsifying lipids. Okay, and then there is this other funny little thing over here, this squiggly little thing. Kind of looks like a little worm or something. That's actually the gallbladder. A little more information about gallbladder is basically it secretes the bile, which, as I said before, is used to emulsify fats. Okay, and now let's see. Let's get down and dirty. Let's get to, I think we should go on to the stomach. Okay, so here's the stomach. I'm going to make it a pinky color. So here's my stomach. Just like that. Nice pinky stomach. Okay. And so the stomach is a J-shaped pouch with walls made of thick, distensible muscles which stores and helps break down food, and thoroughly mixed with gastric acid, pepsin, and other digestive enzymes that help break down things such as protein. And then over below the stomach we have this funny little, almost looks like a boomerang or something, but it's actually very textured inside the human body. It's kind of got like a little crease in there, and it's got some texture to it. That is our pancreas, and that secretes pancreatic juice, which also contains digestive enzymes that assist the absorption of nutrients and then digestion. So let's see here. All right, let's get on to the small intestine. We'll move on to that. I'm going to make the small intestine red. So, let's see. Here's our small intestine. It's this really funky, squiggly, almost looks like the brain. It's got kind of wiggles all over. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Yeah. Wiggle, 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 yeah. Alright, there we go. Very gloopy, I'll make that one. So you can kind of see that it's got some wiggles to it. Okay. So yep, there's our small intestine. There's three main parts of the small intestine. There's the duodenum, which is up in, it's really, actually starts more up towards here, but you can't really see. So the duodenum's over in this area. There's the jejunum, and there's also, which is further down in this area. So duodenum, jejunum, and then all the way down to the ileum. And ileum would be about this area right here. Okay, ileum, duodenum, jejunum. The small intestine is responsible for the majority of digestion and absorption. Actually, about 90% of the absorption takes place in the small intestine. So once it goes through the small intestine, it passes on to the large intestine. Okay, so let me get out a darker red color so I can show you guys the large intestine. I'm going to start here, and then it works through here. Let's see. So this area right here that I just painted up, that's the ascending colon of the large intestine. This is the transverse colon, and this is the descending colon. And last but not least is the sigmoid colon, which is this area right in here. Okay, so there's our large intestine. So there is about 10% of absorption that takes place in there. Not as much as the small intestine, of course, but there is some absorption. And so once food enters the large intestine, it begins over here in this area by the cecum. So that's the beginning of it, right there. And it receives fecal material from the ileum. It connects to the ascending colon, then goes over to the transcending colon, and then down to the descending colon. It's about 1.5 meters long. And after that, let's see. So once it absorbs the water from the bolus, it stores the feces until it can be digested. And then food products, they actually can't go through the villi. So there sometimes, you know, those products that can't go through it, such as like dietary fiber, they get mixed with other waste products from the body and become hard and concentrated feces. And so, let's see. So in this area right here. Now before we actually get to the anus, there is a region called the rectum. So I'm going to make that more of a pinky red color so you can see the difference. So here's actually the rectum area, just like that. And the rectum is where the feces is stored for a certain period of time, and then it's eliminated through the body due to like a contraction and relaxation. And so it goes through the anal canal and comes out of the anus, which is right down here. And that is the end of our system. So just repaint that real quick. Just like that. So I hope this helps you guys understand the digestive system a little better. Gives you a little bit of a visual, and feel free to try doing a painting of your own, maybe even on your own torso, so that you can have it stick in your head a little better. All right.